What's up, y'all? My name is Prince and I'm an urban acolyte. I'm doing video in August, and the way I'm participating in that is I'm going to talk about The Last Jedi every day in video for the month of August. Now, I have a Q&A thread over on the Urban Acolyte Facebook page, but at the last minute I decided to call an audible. If you don't know, J.J. Abrams tweeted the first picture from the set of Star Wars Episode 9, which went into production yesterday, and I saw this comment and I gotta clap back. I gotta respond. I gotta destroy the Rey is a Mary Sue argument that this guy is raising, along with his claim that Luke Skywalker's character was destroyed in The Last Jedi. I mean, dude, like, what is your name? Mike E? It's amazing. You tweeted all of this stuff and every point you made is wrong, right? So I'm getting ready to clap back in this video and destroy this Rey is a Mary Sue thing. So let me tell you guys what he had to say, right? So, I don't even know what he was responding to, or I don't want to go back that far. But he said, that is what worries me. You like Star Wars as a brand. You'll like anything that has the word Star Wars in it. He's making a big assumption. And it is shown for the fans that actually think it's a good movie, that it has no major flaws, that doesn't destroy Luke's character, that it doesn't make Rey a Sue. Rey really showed how strong she can be with the Force in less than a week with no actual training, while Luke was taught by Yoda and it took him hours to even lift an X-Wing. Not only that, but he lost against the fight with Vader and lost his arm. Rey did everything perfect. Here's more. She managed to fight against more than one with her lightsaber and still survived it all. While Luke fought Vader and lost his arm and his lightsaber, Rey shot 3 TIE fighters in one hit. She beat Luke in a fight. She can fly the Falcon. She's a fucking god then. Right? So Mike, you're an idiot. And I'm getting ready to destroy everything that you had to say. I'm just being honest. And I'm not like trying to be an asshole calling you an idiot. But if you're an idiot, because if you're gonna speak with any authority, then you need to actually understand the lore and have something that will substantiate your claims, and you don't. And that's why I'm calling you an idiot, because you're speaking with authority and there's nothing to back up what you're saying. So let's start at the beginning, right? So first off, you said that the movie doesn't destroy Luke's character. It doesn't destroy Luke's character, right? All right, so you guys know, if you don't know and somehow you stumbled onto this video, the purpose of my channel, I'm not a Star Wars fan channel. I talk about Taoism in Star Wars. I talk about Joseph Campbell, the source material, and how those themes play out in Star Wars, because I want to take those messages, those themes, and apply them to real life, right? So Luke's character. Now I talked about this in yesterday's video. Check that one for a more detailed discussion. I'm going to introduce some new things, right? So Luke had a personal struggle in this movie, which was an excellent. I told you guys this movie has the most Taoist message that runs throughout the movie, right? Empire Strikes Back really kicked off the Taoist teachings in Star Wars. Really, it was rich in it, right? I mean, I can pull that out of any of the 8 movies that we have now, and even Rogue One and Han Solo, if I really sit down to think about it, because that's what I went to school to do, right? That's kind of my thing. But I'm thinking of, like yesterday I talked about Luke. He made the mistake. He was about to strike down Ben Solo, homeboy Kylo Ren, the same way he got angry and almost killed Vader after he went through the whole, Ben, I can't kill my father, but I just can't. I can't kill my father. And then he, in a moment of rage, he was about to make the same exact mistake with his nephew that he almost made with his father, right? And I'm thinking of a story, I think it's been attributed to Zhuangzi, who, you know, if you know Taoism, all you know is Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching, but there were other great Taoist teachers who were considered to be immortals. Zhuangzi is one of them, right? So I think the first time I heard this story, it was like in a collection of Zen teachings from, you know, Zen Buddhists, but Zen is just an amalgamation of Buddhism and Taoism, right? When Buddhism hit China, Taoism was already there. So anyway, the teacher, allegedly these teachers who reach this state of this high state of self-cultivation, when they dream, when they sleep, they don't dream. I'm getting ahead of myself, right? So Zhuangzi goes to sleep one night and he dreams that he's a butterfly, and he wakes up the next day and his student, master, what's wrong? Is his student can tell that he's very upset, and he tells the student the fact that he had a dream, and now the student is concerned because the master, when we reach this high state of cultivation, when you become a master, you're not supposed to dream. And the thing about dreaming, that means the mind is wandering. You're not in control of your dreams. Yeah, there's lucid dreaming. I have the ability to lucid dream. It's no big deal. Some of you who make a big deal about that shit, I taught myself to lucid dream when I was 6 years old to stop having nightmares. But the whole thing about lucid dreaming is I'm in a dream and then I realize, oh, this is a dream. Let me stop the nightmare, stop whatever I don't want to happen, and let me reshape this to the way I want it to happen. But the fact is, the fact that I entered that dream space means that at some point neurons were firing, activities going on in my brain, and I have no control, right? I'm not mindful of the present moment. I'm not mindful of the force, right? Something that Qui-Gon would say, right? Feel, don't think. And Bruce Lee said, don't think, feel, right? Awesome how that real life stuff plays out, huh? So anyway, so Zhuangzi says, well, he sits down and thinks about it, and he says, well, I'm not sure if I'm a Zhuangzi who dreamt that he was a butterfly, or if I'm really a butterfly dreaming that I'm a Zhuangzi, right? But the point is that he was in this state where he wasn't mindful, he wasn't aware of what was going on, right? And the fact that this real master had this experience speaks to Luke, that he's, okay, you've accomplished these things, but you're not perfect. You're prone to slip. You're only human, and you're still on your hero's journey, right? Because people want the super powerful Luke Skywalker who makes no mistakes. Rocks levitate when he's so powerful that the force, the field of the force, the aura of the force touches everything around him, and objects just begin to levitate. And that was one of the things that was discussed, that they wanted to, one of the visual effects they wanted to do with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, but it's like, wait a minute, we can't do that because he shut himself off from the Force, so we can't really show how powerful he is, right? So that destroys your argument about Luke Skywalker's character was destroyed. If anything, it made it more rich. It showed that Luke still had his own obstacles that he had to clear with his own self. Not even thinking about what he almost did killing this dude, right? That was about Luke's hero's journey, right? Him returning to the mundane world as the giver of boons, right? Because he became the giver of boons, but he was traveling the galaxy and really in the shadows, and then he started the new Jedi Order, and they went and they were secluded and hidden away, right? But now he is walking among the people, possibly as a Force ghost, and we'll have to see what JJ does with that in 9, right? So let's destroy the rest of what you had to say, right? So Rey is a Mary Sue. Oh, I'm getting ready to roast you now, homeboy. You probably stopped watching at this point because I've infuriated you, and it's all good because that's what I do. Right. So Luke was taught by Yoda, and it took him hours to even lift an X-Wing. Okay, what does that have to do with Rey, right? First off, we know why Rey is so powerful, learned her Force abilities so quickly, because of the little mind meld thing that Kylo Ren did to her, right? If you read the novel, it says that when their minds were joined, and she peeked into Kylo Ren's mind. His training became her training. She was able to understand how he was able to do everything that he was able to do. And you might say that's weak, but hey man, over at the Collider Jedi Council, I think John Campea, he put that forward about a week after The Force Awakens came out. So people have been talking about this for what, 2 years now, 2.5 years at this point, right? So I don't know, dog. That explains that, why she learned everything so quickly. Now you're talking about why can she fly the Falcon? Well, like I said, if you're up on the lore, in Rey's little AT-AT house on Jakku, her main form of entertainment is playing video games. Oh, there's video games in Star Wars? No, she had a flight simulator. Just like there was a flight simulator there on the Yavin 4 base, and Luke Skywalker got the high score right before he blew up the Death Star. So basically the same video game that Luke Skywalker was playing before he blew up the Death Star, Rey's been playing it for years. Luke Skywalker played it twice. He got on the simulator. The first time he died in the game, the simulator, but he got the high score. He tied the high score, which was set by who? Somebody named Wedge Antilles. So Luke Skywalker's first time, I've been acing womp rats flying a mud hopper on Tatooine, right? A little country hillbilly moisture farmer from Tatooine hops on the video game he's never played in his life and ties the highest score set by Wedge Antilles, who had all his flight training with the Imperial Sky Strike Academy that we saw in Star Wars Rebels, right? And Rey's been playing on these simulators for at least probably a decade. As long as she'd been emancipated, you probably didn't know that she was basically in the foster care system there on Ahch-To. She bounced from foster family to foster family until she finally said, okay, screw this, I'm going out on my own, right? She got her own place, and her main form of entertainment when she wasn't scavenging and counting her rations was playing this flight simulator or fixing things on her own, right? And what was one of her favorite ships to play with on the simulator? Well, I think it was a YT, whatever the hell the model, the Millennium Falcon is. So in The Force Awakens, when she was like, well, I've never actually flown, she had flown. She'd been flying for years in the simulator. She repaired a ship and flew it. She was giving it to Unkar Plutt, but the two scavengers who helped her scavenge the items and she fixed it, they stole the ship and left the planet, right? She was like, oh, we can sell it to Unkar Plutt and get lots of rations, right? Get lots of portions, right? And they were like, yeah, you can have the portions. We're gonna holler at you from Maz Kanata's place. We're gonna be sniffing coke, sniffing spice off of Twi'lek's ass while you there bargaining with Unkar Plutt. We'll holler at you another time, Rey, right? So I mean, that kind of destroys your argument, dog. I just said she'd been flying simulator with the ship and doing space battles and everything else, right? Basically, all of the argument about Rey being a Mary Sue in The Force Awakens is like all these things that Rey has been training for her entire life. She was put in situations where all of her skills, it's like, oh, well, I've been fighting, right? The visual dictionary says that Rey's melee fighting skills with her staff, where she had to fight other scavengers and Unkar Plutt's thugs and anything else, all those skills that she developed from years of basically living in solitude, which is a complete difference from Luke Skywalker and Anakin, they carried over into her using a lightsaber, right? You say, well, how can Rey fight multiple opponents? Didn't she get jumped by two guys, two of Unkar Plutt's thugs who were trying to get BB-8? So we've already seen her fight multiple opponents with a staff. And I'm guessing, since, you know, maybe you play Twitch video games and that shit, look, man, with a melee weapon, it doesn't matter if it's a staff, a stick, a cane, a knife, a lightsaber, a sword, right? The angles are all the same. The lines of attack are all the same. And the only thing you have to compensate for is the length and the weight of your melee object. And even then it carries over in the empty hand, right? The angles of attack are all the same. And once you know how to move, and once you understand what you're doing, right? It's all the same. So her growing up on Jakku, having to fight all my life, I had to fight, right? All of that carried over in the her using the lightsaber, and then you couple that with she's learned, she is absorbed through force osmosis all of Kylo Ren's training on top of what she already knew, right? And it just took her time. Okay, let me start to figure this out. Let me start to, okay, I know how he does this. I know how he does it. I have his memories, but now let me actually try to do it, right? So lifting rocks, right? Well, apparently at some point in time, Kylo Ren lifted a bunch of rocks. And so, lifting rocks. And so she's accessing Kylo Ren's training. Okay, this is how he does it, and this is how he reaches out with the force. And okay, now I'm gonna lift some rocks and make things move and with my mind and, you know, all that shit, right? My horrible Daisy Ridley impersonation. All right, what I mean, like, seriously, dog, like, you know, the fact that and then you know, and this is something I don't remember if I said it before, but you mentioned Luke losing the fight to Vader. He had to lose that fight. That's where he gets the big, no, Luke, I am your father, right? He gets his hand cut off. One, that hand being cut off, now Luke is part machine. So when he gets to Return of the Jedi and he's fighting Vader and he cuts Vader's hand off, which, you know, Anakin had already lost once to Dooku, he looks down and it's like, if I strike down, if I kill Vader, if I finish off my father, I'm already becoming part machine. What more is going to happen? And, you know, when George Lucas talks about, well, his tunic opens up and there's the white, because at that point, you know, Luke is wearing all black, just like Palpatine and Vader, right? So, you know, it's like, well, there's the next step. You're already part machine. You got your mechanical hand, right? So that limb being chopped off was it was symbolic. One, you go back to the Clone Wars of Anakin getting half his arm chopped off, and then, you know, Luke is becoming machine, right? He succumbed to the dark side, right? His fear of losing his friends is, you know, what is it? Starts with fear and then hate, and hate leads to suffering, and everything, young Skywalker, everything, right? Fear leads to hate, hate leads to anger, anger leads to suffering. I don't know. Can't think of it off the top of my head because I'm talking about episode 8 and not freaking the Phantom Menace right now. So no, dude, you have your argument has no legs to stand on, right? Just like Anakin got his arm cut off, he got his legs lopped off by Obi-Wan. Mike E, I've got the high ground. Don't do it, dog. Just don't do it. Anybody else, if you're gonna make an argument that Rey is a Mary Sue, that the Last Jedi ruined Luke Skywalker, I got the high ground, dog. Don't do it. Don't do it. Y'all better tell them. Y'all not gonna get me, man. I'm the greatest on YouTube. I might be the greatest ever on any medium. Hey, man. Tell Lucasfilm to holler at me. I'm like the heir apparent. It's gonna go George, Dave Filoni, Pablo, Leland Chi, Prince Bell, the Urban Acolyte. Y'all can come for me if you want to, but don't do it, man. Don't do it. And don't call me a Disney shill or a Lucasfilm apologist, because I don't love anything, just anything that comes out with Star Wars on the title. I told y'all, man. Those of y'all who know, y'all know. I did not like Revenge of the Sith. I did not like it until I read the book, and then I read Rise of the Dark Lord, which is not even canon anymore, right? So the two books that made me like Revenge of the Sith, the Revenge of the Sith novelization is a form of canon, but it has a whole lot of stuff that wasn't in the movie. And then Rise of the Dark Lord is not canon at all. And then it's like it's hard for me to like Revenge of the Sith. And I like the Clone Wars. I'm talking about the episode 2, not the series. I like the series too, but I like the Clone Wars more than I like Revenge of the Sith. I like Revenge of the Sith was like my least favorite of the movies, right? Honestly, in 2004, 2005, I was like, I don't like this, fuck Star Wars, I'm done, right? The reaction a whole lot of people who didn't like The Last Jedi had to The Last Jedi, that was my reaction to Revenge of the Sith. So you can't really call me a shill, apologist, because I'm telling y'all a movie that a whole lot of, we're finally gonna see how this all happened. I walked away like, Anakin is a dumbass. I'm done with Star Wars. This is stupid. Man, I can't believe that he became Darth Vader over some dumbass shit like this. And it took me having to read 2 books to eventually like that movie, right? Then it took those 2 books and then all of the Clone Wars animated series for me to start to like Revenge of the Sith, right? It's taken the entire saga, the entire Star Wars saga to get me to appreciate Revenge of the Sith, and I still don't like it. But that's all I really got to say. I'll get back to the questions, or if you got more stuff you want to add, there's a link to that Q&A discussion. That's where I'll be pulling the topics from for the most part for the Last Jedi video every day in August. So y'all let me know what you think. Comments, likes, dislikes, gripes down in the comments below, and I'll be checking back to see what you all have to say. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead, click that subscribe button and take your first steps towards becoming an urban acolyte. Embark on the journey of becoming the hero of your own story and become a force for change in your community. Continue to support the channel. Let everybody know about this Last Jedi video every day in August thing that I'm doing, especially with your friends who are fans of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and are eagerly anticipating seeing how the Skywalker saga possibly ends in Star Wars Episode 9. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. I got to record a vlog on the Golden Belt Training channel. Y'all check that out if you want to know how to live like a real life Jedi in your real life. And that's all I got for this one. So y'all keep on breathing. May the force of others be with you always.